Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more of the Korea-China Invitational League. So far, we have a nice close series, tied up 1-1 with ZhanHun, our Chinese #1 Protoss player, going up against 815, an ASL player, a pro gamer from Korea. And definitely both very aggressive players. We've seen that a little bit so far in those first couple of games. I would expect that that is something that we're going to see going forward. You know, they're players that we really do see use some like creative, aggressive strategies to try to get that upper hand. So before this really gets started here, I would like to thank everyone who has subscribed to ArtosisCasts. Thanks for checking out. I hope that you guys are really enjoying. Lots of great matches still to come. And, yeah, thank you everyone who is supported on the Patreon as well. It's patreon.com/Artosis if you would like to support. I have some big ideas for things coming, including the Ascension tournament that's going to be on here relatively soon. Did already drop the trailer on the channel as well, so you can check that out. Yeah, thank you, everybody. And all right, right now, it looks like in this game number 3 on Polypoid, we're going to have a gateway expansion. Now, it's cross-spawn. So the Zealot's going to have a much harder time actually going across the map and getting any sort of real pressure or real damage done. You know, that travel distance makes such a huge difference in the game. You know, I think that people look in, they're like, well, I mean, you know, this distance is not that different than this distance. And my answer to you is absolutely it is. It's a gigantic change. This is like one of the funny things I actually do get asked questions about occasionally is like, how much of a change is it? It's like, well, we generally consider rushing strategies that are going cross spawn to be like way weaker. You know, if it takes an extra 7, 8, 9 seconds, your opponent literally might have an additional unit out, right? So if a Marine takes 15 seconds and the rush takes an extra 10 seconds, it's like, well, you're just fighting. You're fighting against more units. And then your next unit also takes that much longer. It's kind of crazy. So anyways, in this particular game, he did hide the probe behind the minerals in 815, wanting to take that seriously since we've already had a double cannon Zealot rush this series in game number 1 on Butter. But ZhanHun not going for something like that this time. Just that gateway into the Nexus coming up. The Zealot is walking across the map. It looks like the probe and drone had a little bit of a scuffle when we weren't looking. The drone is going to go ahead and run away. And yeah, probe going to pull back for now. 815 going up to his 3 hatches, as you would expect. There's the gas. And now I'm kind of sitting here waiting, thinking about, what is he going to do? I don't think he can do something like 3-hatch Hydra. Like, well, here's the thing. You can. But again, the travel distance, it's a lot harder to pull it off. So we'll see if he actually puts any pressure on. I think this is a game in which Cybernetics Core can come up before the Forge, which is actually a pretty big deal. It's going to allow you to get your Corsair out so much quicker that Hydralisk rushes are way less scary. But of course, the trade-off there is if they happen to do some sort of like big, massive Zergling all-in, and you went for that Cybernetics Core first, you can die. In this case, it looks like he's seen like 6 lings to 8. I guess he's seen 8 lings total, I believe. So he decides to get the Forge before the Cybernetics Core. Now, this might end up being pretty important. Right now, with only 2 Zealots at home, these 2 Zealots actually doing a pretty good job. He's forced a lot of Zerglings out right now. We do have Zergling speed on the way, and by the way, no hatchery either. Oh my god, he runs in with a few of the Zerglings. Not just a few, but 6. Speed is halfway done. Starts a cannon. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is looking real bad right now. Now, that's a good catch. It looks like that's a little bit of a sloppy rally there from 815. If he had attacked the cannon, that would have been much, much better with those 2 Zerglings. No Zealots were actually nearby at the moment. And you can chunk down warping and cannons super, super fast. But right now, the Zergling's just being kept alive. ZhanHun goes for a cannon in his main mineral line, which I think is incredibly important. Cannon here, of course, very important as well. He's going to get that additional Zealot. So this is a very good wall. This is a Zergling hole and obviously up here. So the fact that he has that all choked up with 3 Zealots, incredibly, incredibly important. Has the cannon there as well. So that's going to be hard to break. And with the cannon going in the mineral line, It's hard to say exactly how much damage these Lings will get done. They can probably still be a problem for ZhanHun, but like they can't really dive in like they could before, right? And in fact, there's a certain way that you can defend with your Zealots. Like, let's say you only have one, and he's trying to attack your gas. You walk one up and hit, and then just take a step back because it gets into cannon range, right? And one Zealot hit and one cannon hit will kill a Zergling. So, you know, that's just something to keep in mind, right? Like, you're able to defend exceedingly well, even if things are slightly out of range of the cannon. Now, there is the Stargate. So he's going to be able to get that Corsair out. As we can see on the production tab, and we'll jump down and check in just a moment. Oh, my God. Actually, he's going to kill all those Zerglings pretty easily. Oh! Never mind. Never mind. Well, yes, mind. So, yeah, taking a look down at 815's base, it does look like he's going to throw down a Spire. You know, pretty standard stuff. We don't know if he's going to actually go Mutalisks or not. Is he going to switch into Hydras and just utilize Scourge for control? Hard to say. An okay amount of Lings out here. 10 Zerglings sitting kind of outside of his base. He walks by with 4 Zealots. It seems like 815 didn't see that. And with the second cannon about to warp in, that's really, really strong. Now, the Overlord spots it. So that second line of defense here, or the second line of spotting for 815, really doing its job as these Zealots going to be walking across the map. He's able to bring his Zerglings back, make a few more that he feels like he needs. By the way, a couple more hatcheries going up. Oh, no, I guess there and there. So we're going up to 5 hatchery right now. It is looking more like we'll see a Hydralisk transition, but we don't see a Hydralisk den or an evolution chamber yet. So let's just wait and see if he starts that +1 carapace upgrade. That normally is a very good tell. Oh, he's going to 3 gas. 100% it's Muta. Because with 2 gas, I think it's a little bit nebulous. You can't really tell. Like, he might just want to get his speed and, you know, the quick +1 plus the 4 Scourge and, you know, stuff like that. But in this case, you know, it really does look to me like, and in fact, he's going to 6 hatch really quickly. It really does look to me like it's going to be a Mutalisk play. But maybe not. Like, he's going up to 6 hatch as well, which is normally paired with Hydra. But this will allow you to make a lot of Zerglings also. And he is making a lot of Zerglings right now. +1 flyer carapace on the way. Ooh, catches one of the rallying Zealots. So that's actually a very nice catch, a very nice kill from 815. These Zealots kind of out in the middle of everything. Legs and +1 are almost done. And when those are done, he is going to be able to smash Zerglings. But hold on. Oh my God, 2 Scourge catch one of the first 2 Corsairs. That is a problem. 2 more Scourge coming up. Oh my God, ZhanHun, do not lose this Corsair. This is a huge problem. Okay, that was a good Juke Jive, but it still gets caught. That is, oh, that is so much damage. To lose your first 2 Corsairs against someone going Mutalisks with Scourge, with +1 Carapace? Terrible situation. Terrible situation. We'll see what he can do from here. I wonder if he'd want to even add a second Stargate. I feel like that's too slow in this situation, though. But he's still getting the +1. He's still making Corsairs as the counter to Mutas. But it's like, how do you get to that critical mass that you need? It's hard to imagine, right? Now, the few Zealots that get by don't really do any damage here. Most of them just running out of the place, looking exceedingly good for our Zerg player. More Mutas flying up the map. A lot of Scourge coming as well. Those will do a good job of zoning out Corsairs. You know, the cannon will automatically fire at Mutalisks. The Mutalisks basically have a higher priority of targeting than Scourge. So this is always a good trick to get Scourge in, is bring your Mutas as well. Let them tank a few shots, and the Scourge will run right in and do their job. And that's exactly what you see. Kills one of the Corsairs. The other 2 going to end up dying. I guess there is 1 left, but that's going to get picked off as well. I got to tell you what, guys. I think that this game is over, straight up. There's a little bit of a Zealot attack coming back, but the Sim City is too strong. And there's literally no way to stop the Mutas. Like, if you lose the first Corsair or 2, the game generally ends itself if your opponent is already going Mutalisks. Like, you can lose those, and if they weren't, like, really planning on it, they don't really have the gas count, they haven't started the upgrades and stuff, you might be all right. But in this case, absolutely not. You cannot allow that to happen. So that lapse of I don't know, attention from ZhanHun completely costing him this game number 3. Has to be a frustrating one for him. But I'd imagine we're going to see GG at any time, because it's like, yeah, GG. 815 goes up 2-1. And so here we are getting directly into game number 2, well, of this video, but it's really game number 4 of the series. Right now, ZhanHun is down 1-2 as he's going for a gateway expansion here on Nemesis. Over here on the bottom left, of course, we have 815. Having some killer instinct for sure so far in this series. Just going for a hatchery first. So this is going to allow ZhanHun to put on a fair amount of pressure. One thing I should mention is, well, first off, it's very close spawns, right? So the Zealot travel time is going to be a lot better than the one in Polypoid cross spawn that we just saw. Another thing is, where do you make your third base, right? Normally your third hatchery goes at your third base as Zerg. If you do make it in one of these back expansions, you can't rally units out of it to help you fight it all. So a lot of times it ends up at the other natural of another main base. But that, of course, is a very long travel distance. So there's a lot to take into consideration for how you want to play this as Zerg because of those reinforcements and how quickly you can get to each location. You know, if you have things way out of position and a couple Zealots show up, it can go wrong very, very quickly. Now, one thing to mention here, that drone is doing, like, ridiculous work on this probe. The probe is already down to 1 health. Trying to heal up a little bit, and it will, but that's really annoying to get it down solo. 815 might try to hunt it down still. You know, you can do moving shots with probes or SCVs. And, oh my god, I can't believe it healed out of the range. 2 more hits, it's crazy. The probe is going to get away, but the Zealot coming in. We have a lot of Zerglings being made. So, this Zealot going to have to probably retreat behind the mineral patches. No, it looks like he's just going to try to micro it. But he's dealing like 1 attack to each drone. Not really gaining any value as of yet. Like, it's keeping the Zerglings busy a little bit. Maybe he can end up killing one. Okay, there you go. He does end up getting one. So not that bad, really, at the end of the day. Of course, the probe had to go home, so there's not a lot of great scouting going on by ZhanHun, but he can continue to put on pressure with the Zealots if he wants. A lot of Zerglings being made. Look at this. 12 Lings on their way across the map. Has a lot more Zerglings being made as well. Are we going to see Zergling speed? I think so. I think so. He is making that third hatchery up in the other natural that we were talking about. It is a little bit of a long rush distance. A cannon's on the way, and he has 3 Zealots. So this is actually going to be close, I think. You got a micro heavy. Oh, God. He actually got surrounded. This is the one thing you can't have happen. Oh. I had no idea, literally, that there's a hole right there. Okay, that's a really big issue. Okay, ZhanHun's dead. A little bit anticlimactic, but it happens. Zergling rushes can beat anybody at any time. But yeah, that's going to be game. He's not going to be able to get anything else out. This is overwhelming forces. There's no photon cannon up. As soon as that Zealot got stuck up here, it was basically lights out. You have to micro really perfectly in that wall in, and he's not going to be able to do it. The probes come up to fight, but we should be seeing the GG, and 815 goes up 3-1. All right, so getting directly into game number 3. These have been some fast ones so far. We're on Vermeer. ZhanHun has just started his scout down the map. As you can see, it is a gateway expansion, but unluckily for him, once again, cross spawns. One thing we've definitely noticed, by the way, is 815's penchant to go for a mass Zergling attack against these gateway expands. Now, this may seem like a very simple concept, but to be fair, you know, after Mini won his ASL, 815 did kill him the next season, or maybe it was the season he won. I'm trying to remember, but my memory's a little bit off, maybe. But anyways, he killed Mini with just mass Zerglings against gateway expansion. Okay, it wasn't done exactly like we're seeing against ZhanHun, but the idea itself is to just overwhelm these numbers, and he's done it a couple times now. So definitely ZhanHun has to be a little bit wary of that. He has to make sure he's got really great walls and great timing on his cannons, making sure his micro inside of the wall is very on point as well. One thing I do want to also say here is this is a 9-game series, right? So even though 815 has a lead here, even if he wins here and goes up 4-1, like, we're playing all 9 games. Now, again, I think that this is going to be really close. For those of you who watched Mihu versus Saber, it was a bit one-sided. It ended up like 8-1. Okay, and that obviously a lot of people are like, wow, that's a mismatch. You know, like obviously Mihu really did crush him, so there's something to that. But I think that this one, even though 815 certainly has done more than ZhanHun, is more well known and everything, I do think that ZhanHun can make this actually a very competitive series. Like some of the losses that we've had, they've just been so fast. And imagine these guys are sitting down playing these games, and it's like in the course of 15 minutes, you've been Zergling rushed a couple times and you die. And it's like, oh, damn. The map score is suddenly very, very imbalanced. But on the bigger games so far, ZhanHun has done a little bit better. So I think that if he can get in that, it's going to be good for him. One thing to note, Cybernetics Core before the Forge. Okay, more Zerglings coming up, but is he making more than that? I don't think so. I think we're actually going to get into drones. So he has like an okay amount of Zerglings, but it's not nearly as heavy as he had before. So not only is ZhanHun going for like a slightly greedier tech, which of course is not always, you don't have to consider it greedy completely when you're getting a lot of good scouting intel. But not only is he going for that, but like there is no attacking coming. So he should be completely fine and should be, in fact, maybe like slightly ahead because of this. He almost gets that single drone. Not quite, but does get a single drone there, getting some more scouting as well. Lots of drones coming out for 815. Zealots just kind of poking out and seeing what's what. You can see this is a solid wall right now. No Zerglings can get through. First cannon gets started. It's like, that's a pretty late cannon, right? We're almost at 5 minutes, and he puts down his first cannon. The Stargate is already like halfway done. So that is going to be a very quick course here. It's going to give him a lot of really great intel as well. The layer just now finishing. Spire gets started. Are we going to see Mutalisks again? I guess we wait a little bit. We've already seen the way that 815 likes to go Mutalisk. He will go up to 5-6 hatches and add those 3 gas a little bit later. The 2 Zealots walking out to try to get some intel. Now, this is like a very important thing. Even though, like, you might look and say, well, he has so many Zerglings. I don't ever want to leave my base. Well, you have to. You have to send some stuff out to try to get some intel, to try to put some pressure on, try to force more units. If you don't do something like that, if you're just always like, well, they have more units than me, I can't move out, I can't do anything on the map, then you're literally never going to leave your base in certain matchups like TVP or PVZ, right? Like, they can keep a lot of units out. But it's in forcing those units, you actually can get an advantage. And you can see now, it's like these 2 show up. He didn't notice. The Zerglings have to turn around, which means these Zealots can easily walk out, right? So he's really dictating the flow of where 815 can go right now. Ooh, he just gets back. I love it. And look at that single file fighting the Zerglings. This is amazing for ZhanHun. Really, really great position here. 2 Lings do get on to attack that, so that's a little bit annoying. Now 3 Lings attack that, but you know what? These Zealots worth their weight in gold, honestly. Did a fantastic job. And now we're going to have the Corsair in here pushing back Overlords, and the 4 Zealots forcing a ton of Zerglings out. There are actually so many Zerglings that have been made this game. You know, a lot of these could have ended up being drones, but of course he forced them by getting out there. Now, Scourge are out. Hold on. Scourge are out. We do not want to get any of these Corsairs caught like we saw before. And it looks like he's going to be fine. You know, the closest Scourge are going to pop there. It looks like he's going to get away. These might go on an intercept course for this one, right? Like, they're going more directly towards the base, so they will beat the Corsair there and turn around. Yeah, perfectly caught. Perfectly caught. That's a very common type of tactic. A lot of times the Protoss, you got to switch your direction. Scourge have a hard time turning. They're like kind of stupid if you just right-click them on something. You have to give them a lot of move commands to short-circuit. I don't know if that's the right word, but kind of like short-circuit what they want to do, like their personal AI within the game. So yeah, that normally that's what you see when you're seeing like Corsairs juke and jive to get away. Now the Scourge, well, he caught 1 Corsair, which is pretty good. And there are mutas on the way, but it's not nearly as bad as what we saw before. Also to note, no +1 carapace. So we're definitely going to see that Hydralisk transition a lot quicker. And you notice that the number is 5 Mutalisks. Oh, he's adding more. Well, that's interesting. Without the carapace upgrade. Because I was going to say, right, like 5 is where you can one-shot probes. Obviously, if you have 7, you can one-shot probes a little bit longer. But I'm a little bit surprised, because normally if you commit to this many Mutalisks, you'll be getting the carapace upgrade and like continuing forward with that. But we'll see how well he does. Honestly, I'm a bit unsure as to this kind of like middle of the road Mutalisk thing. I think it's just to harass a little bit, make sure that there's some anti-air. Maybe you can end up sniping like a High Templar or something, or cleaning up a Zealot attack. I'm not sure exactly, but I think that the Corsair count, as they get to their +1 attack, they're going to just wreck everything. It's going to really require very high-quality Scourge hits to prevent the Corsairs from just destroying all of the skies. We should mention, +1 attack done for Zealots, +1 armor is on the way. Legs are almost done. A single DT slipping out right now. He's going to see if he can find any damage. We are on 6 hatchery Hydralisk as the speed upgrades being made. Also that ranged attack coming up. And, you know, I think we're going to get into the moment here where ZhanHun is going to have to do his push out, right? Like, he's got a lot of Zealots, and it feels almost wasteful for these to just sit here. He might be waiting for, like, a real critical mass of these Corsairs, like however many he feels like he can gun the Scourge down without losing, you know, the full contingent. Now, here come those Zealots. Corsairs kind of right behind them. The Zergling doing a really good job of scouting what's going on. He actually turns the Zealots around. Another scout Zergling comes in. He's like, what are you doing over there? Oh, no Nexus yet. Okay. Archon coming forward as well. Pre-storm. And here come those Mutos. Let's see. They're being chased. And he wants to bring them over the Archon. See, the Archon provides a lot of cover for the Corsairs. If you fly over and everything's grouped, the Archon splash can do huge damage. Ooh, see that +1 in action. He deals that splash damage. He gets rid of all those Scourge. And now the Mutas don't really have any sort of chance. 8 Corsairs will just demolish. But look at these Sim Cities. A Great Wall, tons of Hydras. Without Storm, you're not breaking these positions. Like, you need Storm to punish these groups of Hydras. You just can't get good surface area with Zealots and Archons. So that's the problem with his attacking. Like, he's trying to pressure, and it's not really working that much. Now, in the meantime, 815 just dived with his Mutas to harass some. But look at how quickly they die to the Corsairs. This is why I was talking about the +1 armor. It's so important, guys. Now, the Zealots and Archon try to hit this third base. Honestly, I think that was always going to be a fool's errand. When you see that type of Sim City, I think you need to pull back. And rather than attack, threaten counterattacks so the Hydras can't move out. Or wait for them to come out and reinforce and utilize your whole army. But when you give away, like, what was that? Maybe 7 Zealots and an Archon? It does feel a bit wasteful. Like, you really didn't gain anything. And in fact, you gave Zerg a lot of confidence. You know, here it's like, well, I just killed a lot of units there. This is a good situation to take some big map control, because this is the moment in the game where sometimes you'll see Protoss kind of take over map control, pressure the map a little bit. But Zerg already has that back. No damage dealt to him. You can see in the worker count and in the supplies that 815 right now, I would consider him winning this game. I mean, it's not necessarily over. This is like a pure Hydra composition right now. But there are, well, there's the Lurker upgrade on the way, right? So as he gets into Lurkers, it's going to become much better for him if he's in a containment stance. These Zealots running around, these are trying to prevent the Hydralists from just kind of closing in and having the position they want, right? Like, he's running them around. He's picking off stragglers. He doesn't want to run them too close to the Hydras. Look like he's going to run them past. Third base, unable to get up as of yet. Yeah, that was kind of a weird pathing to go up there and then down. I think you should have gone down the entire time. Like, if these run back into your choke, I think the containment that's going to go upon you as ZhanHun is going to be too hard to break. Spot's a very sneaky, very sneaky 4th base. That's not somewhere I would expect. And he, in fact, cancels because that was just a sneak base. It looks like ZhanHun wants to sneak this base as well, but 815 finds that immediately. There are Psy Storms out. He's starting to get some Dragoons. You can see he's on 7 gateways now, which is a little less than what we're normally looking at. But you know what? There are a few good things going for him. He's like on pure Dragoon right now. There are only 3 High Templars. Don't forget that earlier ZhanHun bought 2 High Templars and went ahead Oh, that's kind of, oh, he's waiting. He's going to pick up that DT. That's a cute move. But he used 2 High Templars to make an Archon earlier for an attack that didn't work out. Oh my god, he loses 1, he loses 2. I think this game is pretty much over, unfortunately. A little bit anticlimactic ending there because he was actually starting to field a really quality army. Like the +2 armor upgrade is almost done, which is huge for Protoss. But when you're losing 2 High Templars without casting a single Storm, it's like, I guess he was either over-microing this or, I don't know, he was on a macro cycle, but the fact that those died without getting spells off, like, you literally have to keep your High Templars alive. That's like, it's just, that's how you beat Zerg armies. Look at the army that Zerg has right now. You don't beat this without Storm. This doesn't beat all this. So 8:15 going to close in now. Honestly, I think what's going to happen here is ZhanHun will lose all his units in GG. Because he just... I mean, the Zealots will do a good job tanking and allow the Dragoons to get some good hits in there. But +2 just barely not done, and there's no splash damage. See, even this High Templar and this High Templar that pop out, they don't have the energy as of yet. And after losing those units, there is no chance for ZhanHun in this game. Ugh! 8:15 really taking a big advantage here. GG.